Speed. I am speed. 1 winner, 99 losers. I eat losers for breakfast. Breakfast? Maybe I should have had some breakfast. Oh, brekkie could be good for me. No. Stay focused. Speed. Speed.
Arrow? The race already started. You're the only one still at the starting line.
No, I am speed.
Arrow, come on, you're being left behind. You need to get going. Did you not hear me say go?
Speed.
Well, good luck to you then.
So running. As you can tell, being someone who likes to draw pictures and animate, running is super important for my hobbies and even for my everyday life. You don't get a physique like this just from lounging around all day, do you? Wait, actually you can. Much better. Growing up, I never did a whole lot of running for sport. One time in elementary school, I signed up for a track meet, but I never actually trained for it. I think it was a 100-meter dash across the field, and I got last place for it. Great experience. But it wasn't until my junior year in high school when I started getting into running more seriously. For the first week of summer, I signed up to work as a volunteer for my school's library. I would be working about 6 to 8 hours each day, restocking, relabeling, and reorganizing library books. On day 1, after only about 2 hours of sitting in the same chair, doing the same monotonous task, and not talking to anyone, I started getting the itch to move. Unfortunately, the school's outdoor track was right outside the library's window, and I could see a bunch of people outside walking and running the track. And suddenly, I wanted to go on a run.
Man, doesn't it just feel great to be out here moving around on this amazing summer day? I sure would hate to be cooped up at a desk for most of the day, especially if I was in a library having to sit down for specifically 6 to 8 hours straight.
I don't know what happened, but I anxiously sat in the library for the next 5 hours. And as soon as I was finished, I darted over to the track and I ran 10 laps, and I really enjoyed it. For the rest of my senior year, I would wake up an hour earlier than I normally would, and I would go for a run around my apartment complex. I find it strange that a habit that lasted for an entire year started all because I was getting antsy from sitting still for a few hours in the library. Anyways, I'm getting ahead of myself. Later that summer, my family had planned a vacation to go to Singapore for a few days. This vacation was absolutely wonderful. Singapore was such a beautiful and cool city, and I even got to visit with some of my friends while I was there. While we were visiting Singapore, we found out that there was a free-to-join 5K run that was being set up that would allow us to run by Singapore's coastline. And my dad was super excited to get to do this. He had been training to run a 5K for a while, and he was super excited that this run had lined up with our visit. So he signed my entire family up to do this run together. Because the course was in such a popular touristy area, we had to start the race around 5:30 in the morning. On our way to the starting area, my dad was super pumped about the run, and he decided that he wanted to make the race a competition. Races are already competitions, but he wanted to make it a competition between our family. He said that whichever one of our family members finished the race first would get a double serving of dessert after the race. It was at this point that I realized that my dad wasn't aware that I had been practicing running for the past few months. I had always left and returned without really saying anything, and so I guess he didn't know how much I had been running. However, I didn't think too much of this because I didn't think there was any chance of me actually beating him. The 5K was routed around the Marina Bay. We would run around the bay, and halfway through, we would turn around and retrace our steps to the beginning. Soon after we got there, one of the people leading the 5K announced that we were starting.
To your places, everybody. Ready, set, go!
Now, there's not much to say about the start of the race. We were running, and then we ran some more, and then we climbed a bridge and ran across that. You know, it was a run. By the time that I got to the halfway point, I wasn't sure where I was in comparison with the other racers. But as I was running back, I realized that I saw my dad still running towards the turn point. This meant that I was in the lead. This gave me some renewed energy, and I started running faster. I realized that I actually stood a chance against him if I could keep up my current pace. So, on the way back, it was running and running and more running. And suddenly, I was almost to the end of the race. There was about a half a kilometer straight away to the finish line. But at this point of the race, I was quite drained, and I could feel myself slowing down. Apparently, my pace for the second half of the race wasn't as good as the first half of the race, because when I looked behind me, I could see my dad about 100 meters behind me, gaining ground very fast. With what little energy I had, I stilled myself against the floor, and right when my dad was about to pass me, I started sprinting down the final straightaway. And a few seconds later, I crossed the finish line ahead of my dad. My time ended up being about 23 minutes and 50 seconds, which is actually really close to beating the world record. That afternoon, my entire family went out to get our celebratory dessert, and guess what? I didn't even get my double portion like my dad promised. So Dad, when you see this, just remember that the next time we're in Singapore, you owe me an extra Bing.
Well, hello there, it's me. Obviously, who else could it possibly be? And yes, I've always had this awesome, very masculine British accent. And if you've made it this far in the video, be sure to give yourself a pat on the back. Or don't. Also, go check out this other random guy that has no meaning in this video. I just wanted to say it, because I'm not him. Obviously. Now, go subscribe to AroWMation. Bye, have a good one.